Hello. Are we live? If you can see me and hear me, just let me know. Give it a wee sec. Hope everybody's doing well and having a good week so far. And it's good to see that lots of you have got your boxes already. And I hope that you've had fun exploring them. Just let's see. Hi everybody, welcome. My name's Louise and I'm from Edinburgh Community Food and I'll be talking about food labelling today. So at Edinburgh Community Food, we work with people to understand nutrition a little bit better and to share recipes and advice. So today that advice is going to be on how to read food labels properly. So if you've got any questions as I'm chatting, hi Amanda, just pop them in the comments box and I'll get to them at the end. So I think we've got a few people here, so we'll just get started. So basically, food labels can be super complicated. The packaging and the layout and the size is all confusing. But the way that they are written is actually designed to help us make a decision on what we're buying. So the packaging informs us of lots of different things. So the name of the product, what is in the product, the ingredients lists, the allergen information, the weight, which is usually in grams or millilitres, depending on what the product is, the use by date and the best before dates, and also the nutrition information. So there are other things that need to be on there legally as well, but the things that I've listed are kind of the main things that us as consumers are mostly going to be looking out for. And the way that the information is presented isn't always very helpful and it's not consistent between lots of different products and it can be really confusing to make sense of. So that's what we're going to chat about today. So making healthy choices is important, but with confusing and complicated food labels, it can be really difficult to know if something is good for us. And the way that it's written on packages doesn't make it any easier to make a healthy choice. So I'm going to explain what the main things to look out for on labels are and also how to tell if the messaging on the label is there to mislead you a little bit, which some of them are. And as I mentioned, there's lots of information included on food labels. However, not all of it is important for making a healthy choice. So I'm going to focus on some of the information that will help you make a healthy decision. So the two main parts that we'll talk about today are the food label ingredients list and the label nutrition information. So firstly, I've got some props. So we'll look at the ingredients list. So firstly, if we look at this yogurt, it is a peach melba yogurt. And if I look at the ingredients list on all products in the UK are in a specific order. So everything is listed in order of weight that is in the product. So the ingredient that is in the product, the largest quantity is listed first, and so on until the last ingredient, which is in there at the smallest amount. So knowing this, you can tell if there's a large amount of something in here that you want to be cutting down on. So for example, sugar. If sugar is listed near the start of the ingredients list, you know it's in there at quite a large amount. So look out for sugar on things like sauces, bread, ready meals and yogurts. So if we look at the ingredients list of this, firstly it's got yogurt, which you would expect in your pot of yogurt to make up the largest ingredient. But secondly, there's sugar. So we know that sugar is in here in quite a large amount. Also on sugar, it can be written in many different ways. So the word sugar is listed and that normally means that it's kind of table sugar, the kind of sugar that you have at home, like cast or granulated that you'd maybe do some baking with. But sugar comes in lots of different forms. So if you see words like syrups, molasses, fruit concentrates, because when the fruit is crushed, it releases the sugar and it becomes free sugar, and that is the type that we want to cut down on. Fructose, that's another example, agave syrup, honey, they're all different types of sugar, and our bodies don't really know the difference, and they can all be harmful for our teeth. So it's mindful that sugar might be written in lots of different ways on the ingredients list. A second note, as I mentioned, on sugar is there is a difference between free sugar and natural sugars. So free sugars are the sugars that we need to cut down on. So free sugars like table sugar, honey, syrups, these are the sugars that are added to our foods by the manufacturer of the product, or by a cook in a restaurant, or by us at home if we add sugar to our cooking. These are the sugars that we need to cut down on, but also fruit juice and smoothies are classed as free sugars as well, because when the sugar is within the cell of the fruit, so for example an orange, it's bound up in that cell and it's not harmful to our teeth and not so harmful to our health. However, when we crush it to get some orange juice, we're releasing the sugar from the cell and it's becoming free. And it's really easy to overconsume on free sugar, so you wouldn't eat 4 oranges in one go probably, but you might drink a whole bottle of orange juice in one go, which is classed as free sugars. So an adult's allowance of free sugars for the day is 30 grams. Children's allowance for the day, children aged 7 to 10 is 24 grams, and children aged 4 to 6 is 19 grams. And that sounds like a lot, but it's not actually that much. Natural sugars are the sugars that are occurring within the cells of the whole fruit or vegetables that haven't been processed or crushed in some way. And also sugar can occur naturally in some dairy products as well, so the sugar lactose is naturally present in milk. And because these sugars are naturally bound within the cells, they're not classed as free. So my second tip on how to read the ingredients list is about the percentages that you sometimes see included in the ingredients list. So if we look back at this yoghurt, there is a number next to peach, which is listed in the ingredients list. So this has to be listed so that, because it relates to the name of the product. So this is called a peach Melba yoghurt. So they have to tell you just exactly how much peach is in there. It would be really misleading of them to call this a peach yoghurt and not contain any peach. So it's really just for the manufacturer to prove that it's actually in there, and then by doing so, they have to tell us just exactly how much is in there. So this is a handy clue for you. So last year, actually, the Bite Back campaign, don't know if you've heard of it, you should look it up, it's really good. They highlighted that there were products out there claiming to be a source of vegetables, but from the back and the numbers included in the ingredients list, you could tell that it actually only included 1.2% of vegetables, which is not very much, just a tiny amount. So it doesn't really warrant the messaging that they were giving that claimed it was a source of vegetables, and it's really unfair to mislead us as consumers like that. So knowing these little bits and pieces about the ingredients list can help you identify whether it's fraud, food labelling fact or fraud, which is the topic of this health talk. So another point I'd like to make about the ingredients list, possibly the most important about the ingredients list, is that is where you will find out about the allergen information. So allergies can be extremely serious and require immediate medical help. So it's really important that the allergens are listed clearly and accurately on the packaging. So there are 14 official allergens in the UK, but many people can be allergic to lots of other things that are not on this list. They're just the most common things to be allergic to. So if a product contains one of the 14 most common allergens, the ingredient must be listed in bold or highlighted in some other way, such as in capital letters or in italics, but normally it's in bold. And this means that people with allergies can just glance at the product and see easily if they can eat the product or not. So finally, my last tip on reading ingredients lists is to not stress too much. So words like preservatives, emulsifiers, sweeteners, acidity regulators, these are all things that make the product better. And without them, many products would go off much quicker than they do now. And it means that we would have to spend more money, shopping more, wasting more food, which is not great. So just be mindful that everything that you see on ingredients list is safe and it's been tested and that we can eat it. So moving on to nutrition information. So this is the most important thing you want to be looking at when you're going to think about making a healthy choice when you're having a wee look at your products. So the nutrition information on the packaging must be shown per 100 grams or millilitres, depending on the product. And they have to show that legally on the back of the packet. This will cover energy in calories and kilojoules, but here in the UK we just really look at calories, fat content, saturated fat content, and also the sugar and salt as well. Sometimes you'll see fibre and protein in there as well. So this must always be shown on the back, as I said, per 100 grams or 100 mils of the product, but they can sometimes show it on the front, which is where it's helpful for us. So it's worth looking at a few examples. Some products will display the information for the entire product that you've got, so that entire pack size. However, some will display the nutrition information related to the portion and not the pack. So I've got a wee example here. Got some fruit juice. So this has got the 100 grams, 100 ml, sorry, in this on the back, which they have to show, but they've also got it on the front, so you can see that there. But what is a little bit complicated is that if you look closely, it says each 150 ml serving contains, and then it's got the information. But this bottle is actually 300 mils, not 150. So the information on the front is actually only talking about half of the bottle, which is a little bit complicated, but worth keeping in mind and having a look. When they do put the information on the front, it's sometimes coded with colours, and that actually means something. So it's up to the manufacturer whether they put their nutrition information on the front in colours like this, but it's really helpful. So the colours are coded to tell us about the nutritional value of the product. So the colours are only used for total fat, saturated fat, sugar and salt. Red means it's high, orange means it's medium, and green means it's low in those things. And these are highlighted by the colours because these are the things that we need to cut down on in our diet. So too much fat causes us to consume too much energy, so more than we need for our daily lifestyles, and this can lead to many health problems. Too much sugar is really causing us problems with our teeth. Dental issues is the biggest reason that children have to go to hospital for treatment. Too much salt can impact our blood pressure, which in turn can lead to heart attacks and strokes. And as a population, we don't eat enough fibre, fruit and vegetable, whole grains and fish. So going back to the colour-coded traffic light system, when you see energy, it's, as I mentioned, in calories and kilojoules. This is always white, so this isn't covered by the colour-coded system. And that's because there isn't an official guideline on high, medium or low calories. It's just purely a guide to tell you how much is in that portion. Not always the full thing, but the portion. So total fat is the amount of total fat in combination in the product. So a combination of the good and bad fats that we have in our diets. They then separate it out into saturated fat. So saturated fat is the kind of bad fat that we should be cutting down on. Then you've got sugar and salt. So for free sugars that I mentioned, like fruit juice and syrups, we shouldn't be eating any more than 30 grams of that every day. And that sounds like a lot, but there's 26 grams in this bottle alone. Salt, and we shouldn't be eating any more than 6 grams of salt, which again, it doesn't sound like that much, but 6 grams is really easy to get to in your day. So when you see a label like this that's all green, generally that's the healthier choice, because that means it's low in total and saturated fat, salt and sugar. If it's all red, then it means it's high in all of those things. When it's orange, it's generally okay, but try to include some more things with green on the label. So not all of the packaging contains the coloured traffic light system like this. Some of them, you'll see, are like this. They don't have any colours. Now, a wee tip to have an idea on what you're getting out of these products is to look at something called the reference intake. And again, it's really tiny, it's quite difficult to see, but if you look at the back of the packet or the official nutrition guidance, there's usually a column with some percentages in there. So this is to show how much of your daily intake of fats, sugar and salt, and sometimes some other things, so protein and so protein's included on this one, for example. And it will tell you how much that portion is going to give you of those things. So for example, with these cereal bars, this would give me, as an adult, 14% of my daily allowance of fat. So that's a wee tip to have a look at there. But also just remember, in some of the products, it's not always going to tell you exactly what the pack size is and the portion size. You need to have a little look at what it's actually telling you. And that's what the tricky part is with food labelling. So not all food labels are the same. They all present their nutritional information differently. Some have a colour-coded traffic light system and some give you different portion sizes. And it'll take a little bit of time to understand food labels. And I think one of the most important things though to remember is try not to stress too much. Food should be enjoyable and it shouldn't make us anxious. However, it is really important to be mindful of the things that they are trying to tell us. So, identifying fact versus fraud, some things you can look out for. I've got another prop here. So, no added sugar. No added sugar can be a little bit misleading because it can make us think that there isn't any sugar in the product or that they've not got very much sugar in the product, when actually sometimes there is a lot of sugar in the product, but technically they've not added any. So, with these cereal bars, basically it's made up of crushed fruit, which, as I've mentioned, when you crush the fruit, it's not great for our teeth and our health. So they haven't actually technically added any sugar because there's plenty already there. Fine to have in moderation, but probably not every day. It's the same with this as well. This hasn't got any added sugar, but all of the sugar's already there in the fruit. Low fat is another one to look at. Some products that have been made to be low fat actually have lots of added sugar instead. But as you know, if you have a little look at the ingredients list and sugar is near the start of the list, or it is red on the colour-coded labelling at the front, then you know it's high in sugar. Also, claims. So lots of food products are allowed to put claims on them, but there are some that are better to look out for than others. So some products will have a source of fibre or a high fibre claim on them. They're allowed to say this if there is a certain amount of a fibre target included within the product. So that's a good one to look out for. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because we should be eating more fibre in our diets. So to kind of summarise my top tips, ingredients holds clues. The ingredient list, holds clues. So the nearer a listed ingredient is to the start of the ingredient list, it's included in a higher amount in the product. So if you see salt, sugar, oils or butter at the start, it's likely that the product is high in fat, salt or sugar. If there's a percentage figure next to a listed ingredient, it tells you the exact amount of that ingredient in the product. And also, if you see nutritional information on the front of the packet, check to see whether it's talking about the whole packet or half of the packet, or sometimes less than that. Sometimes it might be telling you about what's in a quarter of the packet, not the full thing. If there is nutrition information on the front of the packet and it's colour coded, like this one is, where is it? There. Red means it's high in fat, salt or sugar, orange means it's medium, and green means it's low. And we should all be trying to include more green labelled products in our shopping. A big advantage of the colour coded labels is that it's nice and easy to see quickly if something is a healthier choice. If there are no colours to help you, the reference intake percentages on the back can sometimes help you figure out if you're getting lots of something from that portion or not so much of something like fat or sugar from that portion. Obviously, we're all really busy at the moment, and most of the time we're not going to be studying absolutely everything that we're picking up in the supermarket, especially when we're shopping with kids. And at the moment, with the added stress of one-way systems and social distancing, I don't know about anybody else, but I want to get in the shops and get back out again because it's a bit stressful. But taking steps to understand the labels when you're back at home might help to make a healthier choice when you're next at the shops. They can be really hard to read though. They're quite small, so there's nothing wrong with keeping something like a magnifying glass in your kitchen, handy for if you need it, or the supermarket websites are really good at putting the information for all of the products on their websites. And so sometimes that's easy to compare on the screen. It's a bit bigger and you can add something to your shopping list for when you're next at the shops. So I'd be really interested to hear from you all what your views on the food labels are and the colour-coded traffic light systems, and also if you've got any ideas of what would help you understand food labels a bit better. So let me know in the comments because I'd be really interested to hear. And also if there are any keen little helpers watching along, why don't you have a little rummage in the cupboards, see if you can find any food labels, and let me know what portion size the nutrition information is talking about, and if there are any sneaky messages on the packet that you think is actually a little bit misleading. So keep adding your questions. I can see that there are some here. Yes, it is alarming how much how much sugar we find in, and how easy it is to get to our daily allowance. Absolutely. Hi Nadia. Yeah, so definitely keep adding your questions and we'll get to them if you've got any. What I'm going to do now is add a recipe to the Facebook group, and it's for the mean and green mac and cheese recipe, which you've got the ingredients for in your box. Hopefully you've all been getting your box today. So I'll upload that, and I've also got a link to a really good YouTube video which shows the recipe being made step by step, so you can follow that and have a little bit of fun. It's one of the recipes in the Eat Them to Defeat Them activity book, so let us know how you get on, and if you've got any pictures then share them and then we'll have a little nosy and see how you got on. So hopefully this has explained a little bit about food labelling. They are really complicated and it's super easy to be a bit overwhelmed with the information that they've got on there. But as I said, do let us know if you've got any more questions or if you would like me to clarify anything. So thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the week and the programme of events. Bye!